Hi Deepak, good to see you. It's been a while. We wanted to record this, and again, yeah, across the continents and across the time zones, we have experienced this. But again, at last we are doing this. Hopefully, this comes out well. So let's start, getting to understand why we are here, right? So the idea is to share our mutual thoughts and one answer to another, right? So basically we being into this, just that this is a good idea for us to talk to each other, and perhaps also share what we go through when we put this our thoughts together in form of more in the physical format. So that let's get together and discuss what went in, and how we came about this, and all which took us to see what we are seeing on the screen. Simplexity.
Good morning, Vijay. Yeah, absolutely, you spot on. Yeah, we have been doing a lot of things, but then we did not sit down and try to understand what's there in our minds. And yeah, we would have shared our notes sometimes and also discussed about it. But then I know very well that Simplexity has been core of our journey for past year plus now,
Hmm.
and we've been just discussing about Simplexity and nothing more than Simplexity. So all our conversations start with something to do with Simplexity and end with Simplexity, uh, except for a few times which we talk about weather, American weather, and Australian weather, though. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Thanks for having this chat, and we'll see how and what we will do with this.
Right, right. No, absolutely. Talking about the weather from the contrasting time zones to contrasting seasons, right? I think we are experiencing winter there, and right now it's summer for us. So, yeah, so we don't miss across both of us. We don't miss any weather, right? And we have weathered through all this to get here. So let's jump in to see, express our thoughts openly and record it actually. Right. So let me start by the start of why Simplexity, and how did we get here? Though, as you said, we have been talking about this, right? The concepts were there. So why Simplexity, and what brought us here?
Yeah, that's the question that's been asked many times in my conversations with some other friends of mine and fellow authors, and also some of the thought leaders in the space. Why Simplexity? There is no big hidden agenda here, Vijay. We are in the time of the day where things are getting complex, and anything you take for that matter, uh, we don't look at it in a simplistic way. We always have uh, lots of complications around uh, anything. uh, even if when we started writing the book, when we thought about it, instead of writing, which is the simplest thing, we started thinking about how do I go about publishing it, who is the publisher, who will do the editing, what is the so we are thinking much ahead of the game, where
Hmm.
we should have been thinking about writing it.
Hmm.
So in past 30 years of my journey with businesses, technology, business consulting, and coaching, executive coaching now, uh, always I thought, why is it so difficult to do anything, right?
Hmm.
um, I give a simple example. I was with an organization at some point in time, and we were building a proposal for them to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked to see the type of complexities we built into that system, the simple ticketing system. uh, we tried to create so much into it, and that day I felt uh, it can be much simpler, and it's a problem which we are trying to solve can be much easier.
Right.
And that's from then onwards I was kept on thinking about it. It's been 10 years now which that happened. So yeah, that's the starting point. And how we landed to Simplexity is basically, you remember, Vijay, last April, one morning I was walking in the park and I gave you a call and we were discussing about this. And the idea was to share our thoughts, nothing to do with Simplexity, share our
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. And I remember very well that you were talking about the challenges you went through, uh, going across 11, 12 countries with a small kid around and taking the family all the time and learning everything on the fly. So you wanted so much in you, which you wanted to bring it to the light. And that's where I think everything started. And yeah, I think that's the thing
Mm-hmm.
for, at least for me. So what is that for you actually?
Yeah, I mean, right. I'll start with where you started your conversation with, right, on the focusing too much on when we started, right, after that first conversation we started about the logistics of getting this into life as opposed to putting the stuff together, right? So we actually, talking about this, we experienced all we have written the various chapters, right, while writing the book itself. So in bits and pieces, right? And we wanted to share our thoughts, we wanted to share our experiences. And while, if friends have been talking about uh, writing this, right? They have been asking me to write, and they said, you have quite a lot of experience. Why don't you put it together for others to understand your life, perhaps also benefit, right? So, while again, again, I have to quote the chapter, right? Sometimes the imposter syndrome comes into play, right? Isn't that okay? While people are saying, "Am I really worth it?" Right? You start questioning yourself, and then there is a sense of hesitancy, and then again, what would it look like? The end goal. Too much focusing on the end goal. So when you ask about what is it for me, why am I in with you together for this? Is a similar things is to share, right, what we have gone through. It may not be the best thing we did, right, but we have gone through, and when we would distill it up, right, you see that there have been simple solutions for all what we have faced, right? You have as well faced moving so many different places, working with different clients, and it's not that you and I have faced this for the first time. It did not be the last, right? There are other people as well. So just thought that it'll be a good idea to put it together. Have we have a lot of common experiences put together, and then as you see the chapters, right, different experiences, and then share it with the world, and then actually to invite a dialogue, right? And you asked what people are saying, right? So while when I talked about the book, they were actually pleasantly surprised that at last I wrote it, right? And yeah, the thoughts were quite simple, right? It was quite obvious that yeah, this is what we should do, but it has not. It didn't come to people easily, right? To say, for example, you can think about discipline, right? uh, we all know that it takes discipline to achieve something, but then how do we instill it in ourselves, right? We get distracted by various things. Imposter syndrome again is not something new or something people do question themselves, right? So various things. So I thought, when talking to you and others as well, we had, common some experiences. So I thought, let's put it together and then see what will be the feedback. And then perhaps we should also learn from others' experience, saying that, hey, you've gone through this. This something happened with me as well, and this is how I overcame. So there is a little mutual lessons learned, mutual way of dealing things. So it's more of sharing what we have and then inviting others to share. Again, perhaps again, I keep on drawing references to our book, right? It's about, being vulnerable, right? What would people think if I'm saying that, oh, this is what I gone through, oh, this is what he has gone through. And putting together, putting forth our experiences is, putting ourselves in a vulnerable situation, opening up ourselves. So I thought, let us start playing the first card and then invite others to share their experiences, right? So that is the simple thought behind this.
Yeah, you said it really well there, especially one of my friends who took the book and who read it. He said, Deepak, I know you for past 15, 20 years. I did not know you, right? So that's a big statement, because the thing is, some of the things which we usually don't share, actually, there
Hmm.
is the pains what we go through. Unless until you pen it down, I think we would not get to that level of details. For example, in the dreaming, whether the chapter we talk about dreaming, we all talk about it, right? Dreaming is
Hmm.
not, when you're sleeping. Dreaming is something when you're awake, and or dreaming is something which keeps you awake. But then, what does it mean? How does it work, and how did it work for a family to get through it? Right? Those are some of the things uh, which we thought we would share. And
Hmm.
it's, as you rightly said, it's not rocket science. Someone has to have it, um, learn through this, because the thing is, by reading this book, maybe they will know that yes, some of their dreams have already come true,
Hmm.
and some of
Hmm.
their dreams are on the way to come, rather than thinking that, okay, there is no dream at all. So yeah, that's exactly what I feel about it.
Hmm.
And the other one, some of the things which you mentioned as chapters, some of the chapters what we have is imposter syndrome, or vulnerability, or asking for help, or doing too much, winning too much rather, and be discipline, embracing challenges, life challenges. So anything you look at it, it's part of our journey, in a way. Uh, but then, it, anyone who reads this book will have similar journeys
Hmm. Hmm.
in a different circumstances.
Right.
Circumstances may be different, but then uh, the challenges would more or less the same. The concepts of the problems would be the same. So that's
Hmm.
that's when we thought about, getting this to light and trying to get
Hmm.
to the uh, get to uh, the world, so that we have our thoughts there. Oh,
Hmm.
it's we're getting too much deeper into it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never thought that
yeah.
we could get into it so much.
Yeah, you do get emotional and attached as well, right? We sometimes get too far away, and but anyway, I mean, having talked about, your friend saying that, I got to know you more. Again, that is exactly what we wanted to achieve, right? To say that, this is what we have gone through, and then everyone has their experiences. And perhaps you don't know that this is what you are experiencing, right? You're talking about winning too much, right? And the temptation of getting there. uh, Again, discipline, as I mentioned, right? So all these chapters and all the books, as I see behind you, all the masters, right? Simon Sinek, Brené Brown, and all these folks, right, who have been talking about Marshall Goldsmith. Uh, the important thing what I have seen is to draw their whatever stories they talk about. How does it affect you and what you have gone through? Looking at the past, say that did I go through this, right? So and then how to lay out what next, right? So there are a lot of lessons, and this the idea of bringing this up is to do exactly that. To say that this is what I've gone through, draw your own references to this, say that how it has affected your life wherever you are now, and see what next, right? It's a humble offering into our experience so that others can draw and learn from it. And in fact, the whole idea was to invite for dialogue, like as your friend said, right? This is what we are. And when people say that where you and I are, probably they say, okay, I'm not here, right? But they don't see the experiences which brought us to this point. So they see the end, but not the journey, right? So it holds good for everyone. There are shared experiences, right? The world is all shared experiences, and you and I are part of that experience, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Uh,
Interesting.
we
Interesting.
discover more as we talk about each other, though we have been knowing each other for so long. But then every
Yeah.
time we talk, we get more insights on our mutual lives, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. It's our journey been already 17 years now, close to 17 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Almost 2 decades now.
Yeah. 17 years. And yeah, lots of fun,
Mm.
lots of things which we did, lots of blunders we created. And yeah, I think that still kept us going. And yeah, I think that's a different discussion which we should have at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
When Vijay, when we went through this writing this book, how did the ideas came in, and what did you do with, because it's not one idea, right? It can be many ideas coming in. We have just
Mm-hmm.
put in 13 in our book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you manage the number of thoughts which came in, and where did you put a line telling that, okay, these are the things which we will be sharing, and some of
Mm-hmm.
the things which
Mm-hmm.
probably you have written which you have not shared. So what is that
Mm-hmm.
all about?
No, interesting that you ask, right? Many ideas. First, when you start, you don't know what to write, right? You don't know where to start, and when you start writing, you think that okay, writing about this topic, and then for me, I had to. I was writing, jumping from one topic to another, right? So when I start writing about one, then there will be ideas for another topic. So it was very random for starting with, and talking about it when you get into that rhythm of thinking about a topic like vulnerability. And then I still remember Brené Brown interview. In fact, there was a course for us, the leadership course. We talk about vulnerability. I still remember that. So then you delve into it, and then you revisit the topic as well, and then see how did it affect me. And then when you start, I do remember, right, in couple of chapters, we went way beyond. We wrote a book on that, right? So it was too much information, and then we had to self critique ourselves. So first is to let your thoughts free, right? Not focus on, okay, we wanted to write 3 pages about this topic, 5 pages, right? Not focus too much about the end goal. This is what it is, and restrict ourselves, but let the thoughts free. And then this is not something, we are obviously we're not career writers where you sit and start writing a story. So this comes in, you must have experienced this as well. This thoughts comes in while you're walking, right? While you're actually doing some work in office, right? Some thoughts come, so scribble down, make, you know, uh, record your voice, right? And then say, these are the thoughts. And it's all very random for me. And then I didn't restrict myself to say that, okay, this is the amount of stuff I need to write. Sometimes it was too less, sometimes it was too long. And also talking to family, because as I said, the experience what we have shared in the book is not individual experience. It's our experience as a family, right? For example, if you take adaptability, I did mention about my daughter being more adaptable, right? So talking to them as well really helped a lot to draw insights on what they might have experienced, right? Because we wanted as much experience to put it in form in this form. So talking to you as well, right? If we talk about a particular topic, maybe while I am writing, so say what was your experience about? Did you experience this? Because as I said, every one of us, I'm sure all the topics in the book, all of them who write this book, read this book, must have experienced at least a few of them. In fact, I did get one of the feedback that his daughter, young daughter, about age 9 or 10, she has also read, and then she was actually drawing some reference from adaptability, because she see my daughter as she all looks up to her and said, "Oh, this is what she has gone through." And sometimes I do also go through this, right? So this is this is really heartening to know that people are drawing their experiences to what we have gone through. And yes, and again, just letting it go, and then saying that this is what I want to write, and I started writing it. And then again, there were a lot of deliberations we discussed on this, right? But yeah, not thinking too much, not being too much tagged to the end goal, and letting it continue is what my experience has been, right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic the way you put it there, Vijay. It was, yeah, it's not something which had a question to answer, because the thing
Hmm.
is there was no question written there, so you had to have your own answers, right? You
Right.
have to find something and you need to build on something and go ahead. Coming to the point what you mentioned about the families, I think we should definitely thank them for letting us do this. Actually, the amount of time we have taken out from what we could have shared with them, and and I know Saturday mornings of my time, and Friday evenings of your time, or the same thing, or Sunday mornings. All these mornings is the time which is meant for them, but then we were pulling it out from there and trying to build something. And definitely without their support we could have not done that.
Hmm.
um, yeah, next to the point is like the ideas come in. I remember when I was the connecting the dots is a great example for how we can how we can build on the ideas.
Hmm.
This happened in a park, right? On a September morning, when it was spring year, when I was walking early morning and chirping of the birds and the flowers and all that stuff. Uh, in fact, I sat down in the park and I recorded all my thoughts on my phone.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I came back and I converted it everything onto the paper. So yeah, it's not that when it comes, the idea comes in, and we need to build on it. We need to capture that, and then see the relevance of it, how it is relevant for our experiences, and how we could take it to the next level. So that's something which I experienced, and yeah, it was definitely a great learning. I spoke to one of the author. He has written multiple books, and was talking to him. Um, at the peak of his career, someone asked him, "Why don't you do PhD?"
Hmm.
Right. So he said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And meanwhile, he wrote a book.
Right.
So what he told me is, writing a book was like getting two PhDs.
Mhm.
Right. He wrote in 4 years. He wrote two books or something like that. Yeah, two books he wrote in 4 years.
Wow.
So he said that's what it is. So That's something which definitely
Mm.
made me so happy about it. And yeah, so what was your personal uh, perspective when you had this book in your hand? uh, how did you feel, and what it meant for you?
Quite emotional to start with to see the physical. I still have it in my hand. So still quite emotional, and actually seeing it in print, and we have read the draft many times, more in digital, but seeing it in physical format, seeing it breathe life, right, and being there, really, it's quite emotional. And even more emotional was someone asked me for an autograph on the book, right, that little girl. So that was even more emotional. um, but yeah, and I did give out a few books to people. Like, still getting
That's
get stray feedback, and then talk about, hey, I did experience this, right? And then someone did say that, this the relevance is not restricted to professional life, but also personal life, and for all age groups as well, right? They have gone through this. So it's heartening to get feedback and have conversations on experience. So yeah, I'm still experience to once in a while when people do give feedback, and then they talk about it, right? And uh, uh, quite heartening and touching when your family also talks about this, saying that, okay, we didn't know that this is what you felt about us, right? So when they actually put it in writing, it strengthens your bond with family, right? You might not have expressed it, or they must not have taken it the way you wanted it, but writing really conveys your feelings, right? From the acknowledgement, I would say that was, quite an experience while writing, after writing, and when you actually see someone holding the book and asking you for an autograph is quite an experience by itself,
yeah.
right? So yeah, no, interesting. No, interesting that you asked. When I look back, these are all the experiences I have gone through. So how was yours? You have actually presented it in different forums. You have handed it out physically to people. So what was your experience there?
Yeah, it was definitely, we had two events, and the events, I presented the book, and we talked
Hmm.
about some of the chapters there, and handed it over to the people. And when they came and asked, okay, can you sign the book, it was something which really, uh, uh, I felt uh, after all this, is this what I'm doing today? It is like a dream come true. And I never thought I will write a book at all, for that matter. It was never there in my DNA, probably. It's more of that. And the first day when the book came in, printed book came in, the one which is you can see in the background, it's author copy, not for sale. Literally tears rolled
Hmm.
out of my eyes,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I felt so fascinated to have it in my hand. And thereafter, I'm carrying it everywhere, wherever I go, and whenever I speak to people, I talk about it. I open up one of the chapters and tell them this is how it is.
Hmm.
And recently, I visited Japan, and also Singapore, and happened to meet people there. In Singapore, I sat with some of the people whom I had worked 15, 20 years back. And I was explaining to them, chapter by chapter, how does it matter for us as individuals, or the businesses, how it could take us to the
Hmm.
next level. So it is an heartening experience, and having a book on our name, and it is a history now. Basically, it is there as a physical thing,
Hmm.
and Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that, and it goes on because you give a chance, I can speak for next half an hour on that. Uh, but then now I don't speak anything else at all. Anywhere
Mm,
my conversation starts on Simplexity, anything around Simplexity or Simplexity transformation models or Simplicity metrics. These are the things I talk about, and this is something I'm presenting to the people. This is something which
mm,
I'm
mm,
presenting to the corporations, and making them use the system, because the thing is, this is something anyone can use, and it has a well structured process which someone can follow.
mm,
There is
mm,
benefits on the top, and then why someone should build on it, right? So there are benefits, and then you have what are some of the challenges or the drawbacks or impediments which are pulling down that benefits, and what are the strategies to win over those impediments, and how do we move the strategies to the action plans. So that clear process for anyone can use it, and which has made very simple, and that is the model which when we realize that uh, during the course of our
mm,
journey, it was an eye opener, like how well it went into the book, and how well a person who reads it can take it and put it to it. Because the thing is, I would like to quote one of my colleague who has got this book. He said he will use that and see how it works,
mm,
and that's something which is really good. And also, some of the examples what we have used in our book is basically coming from some of the people who have already incorporated those models.
mm,
And
mm,
for example, anger, right? Anger management,
mm,
someone worked on it and they gave the feedback on anger. And the of all, I would love to see the those type of models which are filled up and giving back to us, telling that, look, we have used this and this has worked for us.
mm,
So
mm,
that's where I'm pretty much interested in seeing how well we can do it. And now also, uh, the way my conversations are now is, anything we start, I ask, what are the benefits of doing this,
mm,
and
mm,
what are the
mm,
challenges I have or the drawbacks
mm,
I have.
mm,
And yeah, I pick up from there, and
mm.
then we'll see how it works and all that stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting journey.
Right.
Hopefully, that is something which we wanted to convey is being conveyed in
Mm, mm.
a right way. And yeah, that's something which I felt, Vijay. Thank you for being with us in our journey till now. This concludes part one, and we will be talking about Simplexity transformation model in detail in our next part. Stay tuned and please provide your feedback. Looking forward to hear from you.